Are you somebody who comes back with bad news all the time, ready to tell everybody to run, drop whatever they are doing, and just skedaddle? Or are you the kind of person who brings hope and optimism into the home? What kind of person are you, and what kind of reports are you bringing back home? That is what I'm talking about today. Hello Lilas fam, welcome to Let Your Light So Shine. My name is Monica and I'm so happy that you're here with me today. Today I will be talking about reports. What kind of reports are you bringing back home? Are you somebody who comes back with bad news all the time, ready to tell everybody to run, drop whatever they are doing, and just skedaddle? Or are you the kind of person who brings hope and optimism into the home? What kind of person are you, and what kind of reports are you bringing back home? That is what I'm talking about today. My first passage for today is Numbers 13 verses 25 to 33. And my supporting passage for today is Numbers 14 verses 1 to 9. Please get your Bibles and let us look at these two passages together. And they returned from spying out the land after 40 days. Now they departed and came back to Moses and Aaron, and all the congregation of the children of Israel in the wilderness of Paran, at Kadesh. They brought back word to them and to all the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land. Then they told him and said, "We went to the land where you sent us. It truly flows with milk and honey, and this is its fruits. Nevertheless, the people who dwell in the land are strong. The cities are fortified and very large. Moreover, we saw the descendants of Anak there. The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south. The Hittites, the Jebusites, and the Amorites dwell in the mountains. And the Canaanites dwell by the sea and along the banks of the Jordan." Then Caleb quieted the people before Moses and said, "Let us go up at once and take possession, for we are well able to overcome it." But the men who had gone up with him said, "We are not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we." And they gave the children of Israel a bad report of the land which they had spied out, saying, "The land through which we have gone as spies is a land that devours its inhabitants, and all the people whom we saw in it are men of great stature. There we saw the giants, the descendants of Anak came from the giants, and we were like grasshoppers in our own sight, and so we were in their sight." Okay, that is the first passage. Now let's look at the second passage together. "So all the congregation lifted up their voices and cried, and the people wept that night. And all the children of Israel complained against Moses and Aaron, and the whole congregation said to them, 'If only we had died in the land of Egypt, or if only we had died in this wilderness. Why has the Lord brought us to this land to fall by the sword, that our wives and children should become victims? Would it not be better for us to return to Egypt?' So they said to one another, 'Let us select a leader and return to Egypt.' Then Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before all the assembly of the congregation of the children of Israel. But Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, who were among those who had spied out the land, tore their clothes. And they spoke to all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, 'The land we passed through to spy out is an exceedingly good land. If the Lord delights in us, then he will bring us into this land and give it to us, a land which flows with milk and honey. Only do not rebel against the Lord, nor fear the people of the land, for they are our bread. Their protection has departed from them, and the Lord is with us. Do not fear them. Okay, so those are the two passages. In the first passage, we have the report of the 12 men from the 12 tribes of Israel were sent out by Moses and Aaron to spy on the land that they intended to take over. That is the promised land. And they came back with different reports. In the first passage, we have the first 10 saying that the land indeed was good, but that those people there devoured the inhabitants. It said that the land devoured the inhabitants of the land. And they were scared and said that those people were too big, they were giants, and they, the Israelites, saw themselves as grasshoppers. And those people in turn saw them as grasshoppers. And then in the second passage, we have Joshua and Caleb's report. In this report, they said, yes, it is a good land. We concur that it is a good land. You have seen the fruits we brought back. But if God is with us, we should not be afraid. We can overtake these people, we can win. Caleb and Joshua said that with God on their side, they could win. And what did the Israelites do to them? They stoned them. If you continue reading that passage after verse 9 where I stopped, you will see that the children of Israel stoned them. They were crying, they were complaining and saying, why did God not leave us in Egypt? Moses, why did you bring us here? We could have just died in Egypt, or let's just die here in the wilderness. That for us to go to that place, the so-called land flowing with milk and honey, and get there and be killed by these people. That was their complaint. And what was God's response? God's response was a kind of response that you and I would probably give. It was a response of anger. God was upset with these people. He said to Moses, so after everything I've done for these people, after all the wonders, after the manna, after the water from the rock, after the quails that I brought with great winds, after the 10 plagues that I worked for these people against the Egyptians, they can still not trust me. They still do not trust me. They still do not believe me. I don't have their loyalty. I don't have their trust and confidence. So they can still give me a vote of no confidence after everything that I have done. These people were showing through their complaints. They were showing through their cries. They were showing through their repeatedly, over and over again saying, let's go back to Egypt. They were showing that they didn't trust God. They were showing that it did not matter what God did. They were not amazed. It was like, okay, yeah, do what you want. We are hungry, give us food. God gives them manna. Okay, well, manna, that's now old news. Oh, we are thirsty. And God says, strike the rock. Moses strikes the rock, water comes forth. And they're like, okay, all right then. What next? Oh, meat. Oh my goodness. If you read that passage where they cried about meat, it's like, what is with you guys and meat? What is going on here? Why are you so meat-centric? Why are you so carried away by your desires? But they cried. They were crying for meat, and what did God do? He brought a great wind that blew all sorts of quails. The quails were not even on one layer. They were stacked up on each other. Because God is the God of perfection. God is the God of excellence. And so he was like, you want meat? I will give you meat. And he gave them loads of meat. So much meat that when they were eating it, they started getting irritated. It was like, okay, we're eating, but okay, we're getting tired of this meat. Just how many hours ago they complained about meat? God had done so much, and these people were still not amazed. God had given them the pillar of clouds, the pillar of fire throughout this journey to guide them, one as a roadmap, the other one as a protector. And not just a protector, but as light for their footsteps. And they were still not amazed. And God was like, what have I got to do? What have I got to do? I have shown myself strong. I have proved myself, and still these people don't trust me. Still, these people are saying, let them go back to Egypt. I don't want to hear the Egypt word again. I don't want to hear it. I've had it up to here. God was upset. That was the natural response that I would even have given, that you would have given. God was pretty much upset with these people. What did he do? He said, You see this thing people have done? That I sent you to go and check out that land. I sent you there. I told Moses, send them there. Moses sent you there. You went and spied out the land. And you came back. And you said, those people are giants. So if those people are giants, what are you trying to say? That I'm less than the people? Are you trying to say that those people, whether you call them giants, whether you say they are the sons of Anak, whether you say they are devourers, are you saying that in spite of everything I have done, how I have been there for you, how I have protected you, how I have fought for you, how I have defended you, that those people are bigger than me? That was how God felt. God said, fine. You see this wilderness? This is where all of you will be wiped away. You will not cross into that promised land. You see, that great land that you went to espy, that land you went to look at, you will not go there. You will not go there because right now, you do not deserve it. Right now, you're longing for Egypt. Guess what? You're not going back to Egypt. And guess what? You're not entering the promised land. You will stay here in this wilderness, and this is where it will be RIP. This is where it will be done. This is where you will be done with. You will not go into that promised land. God had it. And the journey from Egypt to the promised land was supposed to be, guess what? 11 days. I mean, 10 days and 1 extra day. 11 days. But instead, what did it become? It became 40 years. I did not say 40 days. I didn't say 40 minutes. I did not say 40 weeks. I did not say 40 hours. I said 40 years. That is to say that a child who was just born at the beginning would be 40 by the time they crossed into the promised land. And that was not for everybody. That was for the few that did not complain against God. But everybody that complained against God, in spite of all he had done, God said, here you stay. In the wilderness, that's where you're going to be stuck. That's where it's going to be the end for you. Forget the promised land. Forget that dream. It will not happen for you. There's so much I want to talk about in this passage, because I can take it from the angle of the children of Israel always complaining, never believing, never trusting, in spite of everything that they had seen, in spite of the miracles that God had worked for them, in spite of God's continuous presence with them. His continued presence still did not make a difference. His constant presence still did not make a difference to these Israelites. You remember that God used to be on the mountain where Moses used to go and have conversations with him. But because of what they did when they made the calf, God came down and he decided that he would meet with Moses at the tabernacle of meetings. He was now closer. He was now nearer. You could see his presence. You were not just told that God was on the mountain. You actually did see his presence. You felt his presence. The Israelites felt and saw God's presence. And yet, they still didn't trust him, despite everything that God did. And it was just unbelievable. It was just so disheartening. It was so discouraging, because these were people that God had set apart. These were people that God had called his own. These people were handpicked. They were cherry-picked. They were specially chosen among nations all over the world. And what did they do? They kept on disappointing God with their distrust, with their unbelief, with their cries, with their complaining, with their murmuring. It was really, 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 really annoying. And God had it. And all those people, those 10 that came back with the bad news, those 10 were wiped away by a plague in the wilderness. Their own was like instant. It was done. They didn't have to go through the 40 years. Their own was like there. Done. Theirs was done there and then. I can take it from the angle of what other proof do the children of Israel need? After all this time with God, After first-hand experience with God, after everything that God had provided, after how much God had shown them that He loved them and that He chose them and that He was there with them, a constant help, a constant guide, a constant protector, a constant loving Father, it was not enough. They couldn't trust Him. They were just not blown away. They were not impressed. Instead, they were more interested in returning to a land where they were the helps. God was taking them to a place where they were going to be royalty. They were going to be landlords. They were going to be owners. And they were like, no, we want the mediocre. We want the little. We want the less than. We want Egypt. Egypt. The same land that you complained about. The same place where they were overworking you and you complained to the Lord and He came to your rescue and He sent Moses. You want to go back there? I can take it from that angle. And when I take it from that angle, what will I tell you? I will say, why are you longing for Egypt? Why are you not believing in God after everything that He has done for you? After how steadfast, after how devoted, after how faithful God has been. God has shown up for you over and over and over again. Why do you still not trust Him? What will it take for you to trust God? What else does God have to do? God has proved Himself in your life and you're still not happy. You are still longing for that thing that has been hurting you. That thing where you were crying non-stop and you asked for help and help came. And now you say, let the help go on its own. You want to go back to Egypt. How dare you? How dare you? How dare you want less? How dare you long for less? Do you not know that you are a people set apart? Do you not know that you are a royal priesthood? Do you not know you are a chosen nation? Do you not know you are the apple of God's eyes? And so you should not long for less. You should not desire less. You shouldn't have less. The very best, the best of the best, the cream of the crop is what you should get. That is what you deserve. That is what you earn as a child of God. And yet you're longing for the crumbs. Really? Is that how little you think of yourself? Is that how you devalue yourself? Is that how little your self-confidence is? Have you no self-esteem? Do you not know who you are? Do you not know whose you are? Do you not know how precious every drop of blood that Jesus shed for you cost? Do you not know that you are worth the redemption? If Christ could die for you, believe me, you are priceless. Believe me when I say you are royalty. I don't want this message to be long, so I want to get back to my topic. I want to get back to my subject matter, but ponder on what I just said. You are royalty. Act like it. So back to the subject matter. What report are you giving? Are you going to belong to the class of 10 or will you belong to the class of 2? Are you going to be in the class of Joshua and Caleb? Or you want to go with the 10 who suffered the plague? What kind of report are you bringing back? When people tell you to go and assess a situation, do you come back and give them negative feedback? Do you tell them that it is mission impossible? Do you discourage them and come back with demoralizing news? Or do you tell them, okay, this is the reality. I will tell you what I saw and I will tell you what I think is the solution to the problem. Yes, those people are mighty. Yes, they are taller than we are. And yes, they are huge. Ooh, they look scary. But I trust in God. I believe in God. I have seen Him work mighty works. I have seen Him do wonders. The plagues, the 10 plagues, that was enough proof. But that wasn't all. Do you remember how Pharaoh and his men, his chariots, his horses followed us across the Red Sea? Now let's not even talk of the Red Sea wonder. But when Pharaoh followed us and with his chariots, with his men, with their spears. What happened? They drowned. And we were safe. We were safe. And when we were out here in the wilderness, a barren land, how has it been? How have we fared? God has given us food. We were thirsty, God provided water. We needed to continue on our way. God provided light for us in the darkness. And do you remember the pillar of cloud? That one that shielded us is still with us. The pillar of fire, it still leads us. We wanted meat, and God gave us so much meat that we just had enough. We were overfed. We had too much to eat. I've seen God do mighty works. And so yes, those people may be big. But Yahweh, the God who made those so-called giants, is bigger than them all. And so, I am not worried. I'm not scared. I've got God. I'll be fine. I've got God. I will win. Is that the kind of report you come back with? Or you always want everybody to just bow their heads and be sad, pondering and saying, it's over. We should have stayed in Egypt. What kind of report are you bringing back? If you need to work on your mindset, you should. Because you need to look around you. You are a leader. Those 12 men, the Bible tells us that they were leaders from their father's houses. They were not just ordinary men. They were not random. They were leaders of their individual houses. They represented their tribes. They were representatives. They were emissaries. Each one from the 12 tribes. And so when they come back and tell their brothers, their cousins, their uncles, their mothers, their fathers, their wives, their children, that they should be scared. Believe me when I say those people will be scared. I mean, I trust your word. If I didn't trust you, I would not send you there as my representative. If I didn't trust you, I would never ask you to go and be my eyes out there. If I didn't trust you, I will not ask you to lead us as a tribe. And so when you come back as a leader, what are you telling your people? Are you telling them to hang their head in fear? Are you telling them that their God is not big enough? Are you telling them that their God is not capable? Or are you telling them that they should discard the power of God and focus on the gigantic attributes, those overwhelming, enormous attributes of the enemy? What are you telling them as a leader? What kind of example, what kind of report are you bringing back? And those 10 were so influential, maybe because they were more in number. They were so influential. Their word carried so much power and authority that when Joshua and Caleb brought a contrary report, a report that said, yes, it is what you say it is, but our God is bigger. He has proved himself. Our God is mightier. The children of Israel stoned them. They were stoning them because they believed more the negative news than they did the positive news. And so as a leader, you have to be careful with your words. You have to be careful when you bring back feedback. You have to be careful with your reports. State the facts. State the obvious, but give some hope. Remind your people that God has not failed in the past and he will not stop now. Remind your people that God has proved himself repeatedly, non-stop, every step of the way, in every situation. And so he will not disappoint you now. Remind your people that God and God alone has the final say. Like I said, I don't want this message to be long, and it's something I feel very passionate about, because when I was reading this passage, I felt really bad. I could feel God's pain. I could feel God's disappointment when his people, his specially selected people, the apple of his eyes, kept murmuring against him in distrust I felt God's pain. And I felt if somebody did this to me, I will be completely done. I will never do anything for you again. But thank God I'm not God. Because God in his mercy repeatedly kept saving his children. And even today, he keeps saving you and me. Well, this is all I have to bring for you today. Like I said, I don't want to be too long-winded. I hope you have enjoyed watching it and I hope you have been blessed. And I hope that this message has reminded you that God does not fail. And your murmuring is only going to make things worse. You need to trust in God. You need to believe that God who has done it before will do it again. And that God is bigger than the enemy. No matter what the enemy may be or who the enemy may be, God is mightier and God will never fail you. If you enjoyed watching this video, please drop your comments below and tell me how this video has inspired you and renewed your faith. Also, if you want to watch more of such videos, please subscribe to this channel. It is free of charge. Simply click the subscribe button and get subscribed today. Also, do not forget to click the notification button so you'll be notified as soon as I update. Please like and share my videos. I enjoyed bringing this video to you, and truly it is one message that I'm passionate about. I hope it has blessed you. Wherever you are, whatever you do, let your light so shine. I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Please subscribe, click the notification button, like this channel, share our videos, and follow us on social media. Thank you very much.